Right, Osei Kufuor, Black Science TV 111. I'm back at y'all again. I'm here to answer some questions. So, without further ado, one love, and I'm ready.
Okay, King, my first question is there a second, is it a second sun
As far as,
as far as in the atmosphere? Is it a second sun?
well, depending on, you have certain types of suns. A lot of people are always talking about the sun, and I'm pretty sure that they're referring to that thing in the sky, that object in the sky, which is a satellite, which is shining, but that's not just the only sun that exists. So, when we're talking about suns, you're talking about certain fragments of the moon as well. The blood moon is a form of a sun that's coming into an existence that has been in the womb of Mother Earth for a while, and now it's being dispersed. Why is that? It's because the sun that you see now, the major sun, which is 33 degrees in tilt with the rotation of the equator, has now become in the jurisdictional area of a blood moon. And the blood moon has in it the largest pyramid that could ever exist. We have a lot of historians saying that pyramids only exist on Mars, pyramids only exist in Africa. But the oldest and the most ancient and the most largest pyramids are on certain moons and certain suns. Now, the blood moon that's coming into fruition, you must understand that this is a satellite which is giving birth to natural energy, which is now abducting a certain biochemical structure within melanated bodies. And we have an extra strand of DNA that's now being plucked. It's being awakened. It has been asleep for 66,000 years. It has been asleep for 66,000 years. Now, 80% of the Earth's population is unknown. So we don't just exist as humans and hybrids. There are other life forms, of species in the ocean, of species in the forest, and etc. that exist here with us. And many of these species live underground. They live underground. Only 22% of the ocean is discovered of species such as the sharks, the whales. We know about that, but there's other species as well who have the same biochemical structure as melanated people. I know I sound crazy, but trust me, your government is not showing you a lot of stuff. There's a lot of things that exist that if you see it, you'll have a heart attack. Why? Because you are conditioned, or you are enslaved. Your mind is enslaved to only believe and know the things that they put in front of you. Now, I want to go into the pyramids for a second. Now, the pyramids were used for our ancestors to teleport from one geographical area into another, or from one satellite or planet to another. Airplane, they didn't use airplanes, even though they had it. Airplane like transport vehicles at that time, they had that. This is not new. Airplanes are not new. They're just capitalizing off of something that's original. Now, the pyramids were used to go from one dimension or from one planet or from one geographical area to another at certain seasons because they couldn't travel at a distance for 2 hours because it would subdue the genetic codes within our ancestors. The Dogon tribe, the way they teleported, they had to leave their body while being conscious within the matrix. Today you can't do this. Why? Because there are a lot of artificial satellites that is blocking or deterring a certain type of energy from reaching certain parts of the brain of melanated people that is shut down. But if that energy was to come into contact with that part of our brain, it would automatically wake it up and we would be able to astral project as far as on a higher level using our thoughts, because remember again that we are our thoughts and this is how we travel. So now we have species underground and they are living there, and now they are awakening. They are awakening and they're coming to attack anything that is hybrid. Mark my word. There are melanated species that precedes the human beings here, such as the melanated people, but are in kinship to us as far as DNA-wise, that is coming to attack anything that is hybrid in the environment. Do Europeans know this? Do the government know this? Yes, of course. But it's all connected of why they want to put us into concentration camps. It's more than just putting us there and making us do work and killing us. It's more than that. They're putting us there to hook us up to certain things where they can actually enter into our minds and attack us from another world. But they won't be able to do it. Why? Again, they don't know spiritual science. They want to actually come into our sleep world and attack us. So, even now, when you go to certain parts of Alaska, underground they have a lot of melanated people who they have kidnapped or they say is missing, where they have them hooked up to certain tanks. I don't know exactly what the machines are, but they have them hooked up to them to the point where they can see what's going on in their sleep. And they want to attack them at certain interims of the sleep so that they can enter into the dream. But what's going to happen is they're going to fail. They're going to fail. So everything that they plan, they are actually 50 years late in reference to the attacks that they're planning against us. So, melanated people, it's time to wake up, because we are digesting a certain energy, which is emotion. And this emotion is the ingredient of fear. And they are using this because fear operates on a certain frequency that closes down the part of your subconscious that you need in order to see 2 or 3 hours ahead of time. Our subconscious allows us to see 2 or 3 hours ahead of time, but since we are caught up in something that we can't see, that is actually projecting subliminal signals onto us by way of things that we have in the environment set up by scientists who used the kemetic sciences against us in a negative way, because our ancestors used these sciences in a positive way. But they have taken this. These are curious people. And since they know they're going extinct, they are using everything that they can against us. So, yeah. Any other questions?
So my next question is, when will they be extinct? How much time do we got left to deal with these crackers?
Well, they are going extinct fast when it comes to the spiritual fighting. Because even though they have spiritual frequency, the elements are very low. It's not dominant. The soul is what actually defends or is the artillery for the spiritual realm as far as the fight. And because we have a soul, this allows us to be able to do things subconsciously. Like right now, the ringing sounds that we're hearing. This is something that's they are sending into. They are attacking us in our sleep at night. When we go to sleep at night, the government turns on certain satellites that's adjacent to low-income neighborhoods or black communities, and they send these signals off to attack us in our sleep. And so we wake up and we can't remember what's going on. I can't remember my dream. They attacked you. Because the deeper we go to sleep as melanated people, the more that the melanin in our body will arise and start to heal us and give us certain powers and intuitions to be able to see certain things and catch things on time. But since they know that, at a certain time in our community, which is 6 o'clock, why? Because they are attacking the 6th chakra. Your 6th chakra is important. It has a lot to do with your evolvement. It has a lot to do with certain energies of information entering into your brain, because of those of us today who are on a level where we can actually hear the ringing sounds. These are the people with the brain that's going to be abducted by a certain power that's going to cause us to not mutate, but to transform into beings that are able to do things that we see on television. When you watch an X-Men, we'll be able to teleport. We'll be able to attack them sitting in one spot, just with our thoughts. We don't even have to move. See, it goes deeper than that, because when you see the cause and effect of things today, it's very distinct and it's very adamant. When you see the evolving of the universe, it's very dominant in its retrospect. As far as when you see the moon shift. When the moon shifts, the magnetism of the energy, which is information, starts to shift. And you have to remember that you are everything outside of yourself. So what scientists can't understand is that why is the moon shifting? They didn't see that coming. Why? Because they don't know spiritual science. And in order for you to know anything, as far as the things that's unseen, you will have to have a spiritual lens. 2 physical eyes can't do it alone. You have to have a third eye, which is a spiritual eye that is working that is a working eye. They have a spiritual eye, but it's not a working eye because it don't produce something. And what doesn't it produce? Melanin. This is where they mess up. So we're winning the fight. It's just that they want us to think that the fight is a physical war. You get what I'm saying? So it's time for us to really look into, because when we study in the pyramid, when you decode it, that's 2 physical eyes, and then you have your third eye. Why? Because you have 3 points in the pyramid. The 2 bottom points is the physical plane. When you go up, you are reaching the 5th dimension. That is your third eye. This is why they have to put the pyramid on something material, because they don't have a material soul substance. They have to use a physical substance to substitute for that which they don't have. You get what I'm saying? So therefore, when they tell you they went to the moon, you have to say, okay, what does the molecules of the moon consist of? Because if it consists of something that the sun has, then they can't go within a certain parameter of the moon, or they get burned up. They've never been to the moon. They've been in front of green rooms. They've never been to a moon. Right? So with that much said, this is Black Science TV 111. Osei Kufuor. I'm out. Peace.